Alright, so in this video I bring you guys a deck profile of my wind-up deck. Running a few different engines in there, just to get monsters on the board easier to facilitate Exceed plays rank 3 through 5. I feel like this is probably by far the most viable way I've thought of to play wind-ups in like the past year or maybe 2 years. Yeah, I think this is definitely a good way to go for the deck. It's explosive. The problem is the little bit of shortness in terms of extra deck space, and also it can brick a little bit, which yes, I feel like that's an inevitability with this type of deck. I should also say that I have not really tested very much with it, so you could probably improve it, and it might even be best if you cut one of the extra engines, though I would need to test more to make any statements on that. So, for the wind-ups, pretty basic. You got the Magician, 3 Sharks, and then 3 Rats, and 2 Rabbits. So only 2 Rabbits because I'm not really playing traps. I don't really want to summon Rabbit pass. That's not really a good play in this deck. But you need at least 2 because there are combos that involve having 2 of them. Like looping them, kind of. So you do need the 2, and it's also kind of just like the name. So yeah, and then the 1 warrior. So almost the standard 11. I'm only running 10 though. I feel like that's pretty obvious. If you don't know why I'm running some of the windups, you can just like leave a comment and I'll try to answer. Or watch some of my older videos. I have lots of windup videos from a while ago. And then first engine, we've got the Speedroids to make rank 3s. So we got 3 Terratops and 1 Kettenberg. I don't like just running 1 search target. I think it's garbage when you draw it, but there's not very much deck space, and it does minimize your chances of drawing the single copy. And yeah, this is just like an amazing rank 3 engine. You just summon this and make Invoker, basically. It'd be way better if Carrier was unbanned, like it should be. And then we got our Quantums. We've got 2 of the red layer and 1 of the blue layer. This is basically just like the engine that they run in Extra Deck Monarchs sometimes. I feel like this and this do conflict somewhat, so that's something to look into potentially. But the red layers are really good for making rank 5s. They can make the red Zord, and it has a quick effect, which is extremely powerful. And this is really good for making rank 3s, and this deck makes both of them, so it does fit nicely. And I really like just looping the 2 of them while making rank 5s with them. And then I'm running a Brilliant Fusion engine. So we've got 2 Garnets, just in case you draw one, and then 1 Trick Clown. None of the cards are inherently light, so you do need to run lights to run Brilliant Fusion. But I feel like you definitely need to, because the extra normal summon helps a lot with cloggy hands, and also activating Brilliant Fusion gets you a level 4 and a level 5 on board to make Exceeds with. And so you could potentially run Wind Up Knight. That's a light, except that card is kind of garbage, so I run just generic good lights instead. And then to round out the monsters, we have the hand traps, 3 Maxi. Maxi is extremely good right now against essentially every deck. And then 2 Ghost Ogres. So this is basically the light monster I run in addition to Trick Clown. Obviously I choose to send Trick Clown over this, but this is like my backup that is still fine to draw. And that's it for the monsters. So we have a bunch of spells. No traps. 3 Rhino Factory. This card is still kind of amazing. It's a little awkward. It's easy to destroy and everything. 3 Brilliant Fusion. because this card is broken, and you should just play it and everything, basically. 3 instant fusion, so this is the only engine that we didn't really get to with the monsters. This can summon level 4 or 5. 3 also, technically, but I don't play any 3s because there's not enough space for that. Norden is still kind of crazy, so that helps with combos and such. 2 emergency teleport for the quantum engine. And then we've got 2 twin twisters. Back row kind of hurts. You can maybe play 3, but then you have even more issues with clogging, because multiple twin twisters is usually bad. And then Soul Charge, because Soul Charge is extremely ridiculous in windups just in general. And then 1 Regeki. This card is kind of borderline. I don't know how I feel about it, but this deck does like to OTK, so clearing boards helps with that. And sometimes it does struggle to get over big boards. And then the extra deck space is super tight. So we've got for rank 3's Invoker to summon the warrior from the deck. And I mean, this is just really good for starting a lot of plays. And then Levier, this is part of the OTK. You need both of these to OTK. And this is also kind of good as a combo piece. You can use this, you can make this and then summon the Tekettenberg from your hand and then make a different rank 3. And then the last one is the blue Zord, because we are playing the blue layer, so this can have a quick effect, and destroying back row is really good also. I considered a lot of other rank 3s, but these were the top 3 that I chose. I wanted to go with Totem Bird for first turn play off of Terror Top, but that one just missed the cut. And then also Zen Mains, because it's a wind-up name. Those are the main ones that I thought about. Papal Operative, you use OTK. Castel, Removal, Dweller, this is a different OTK. And also, it's just a good card in general. And then Utopia and Utopia the Lightning. You need the 25 attack, actually, for one of the OTKs. There's a lot of OTKs in this deck. Just different variations, basically, on the same basic combos, though. And then Lightning is obviously just really good. So these are the rank 4s that we play. And then for rank 5s, we've got the Red Zord, because that's insane with the material. Durendal as basically just like the generically good one. If you make this with like a brilliant fusion on the board, you don't care if it gets MST'd. So nice easy negates with that. And then we're running Volcasaurus once again to help OTK. And then Gaia Dragon to put on top of the Volcasaurus to OTK. A lot of the extra deck is built around trying to OTK, which the windups do quite heavily. You can also make pretty good lockdown boards with this variation, at least, because there's a few monsters like this or this or this, if you summon them with the right materials underneath, and that too, that can just like be like controlling monsters, I guess, which is kind of like a backup strategy if you can't really kill your opponent. And then the fusions, we've got the 1 Seraphinite for the Brilliant Fusion, and then for Instant Fusion we have Norden for the 4 and Panzer Dragon for the 5. I actually found myself using Panzer Dragon's effect to help get around Floodgates. It's basically like a slow MST if worst comes to worst. And then side deck I haven't really put too much thought into, but here's just an idea of some cards you could maybe side. Siding all hand traps and spells, because I don't think traps really are the best idea in here. So 2 Effect Veiler, this is like an alternative for Ghost Ogre. If this is better in the matchup, you can side out Ghost Ogre for this. because otherwise you can't really afford to side out the Ghost Ogre, because you need the light for the Brilliant Fusion. 1 Manko. If you're worried about OTKs, you can search this off of Terror Top. And then more hand traps, 2 Flying Seas for stuff like Burning Abyss. And then 2 Gamma Seals to help get over things like Megazord or Cosmo stuff, whatever. Spell trap removal, the 3rd Twin Twisters, and 2 MSTs. Very important if you're playing something like Cliff Forts, which is very annoying. And then removal system down for Cosmo. And then 2 Dark Holes, and then Book of Eclipse. Those are basically copies straight from my siding and my Quantum deck. That would mostly be for like Domain Monarchs. You'd side in like you want to be able to get rid of their stuff so you can actually play. Because Domain Monarchs just floodgates this deck really hard. So that was my deck profile for my wind-up deck. I feel like it ran pretty well when the 1 week when I tested it at locals. It probably does need some refinements. This is definitely a rough draft. This is basically my first. This is my first draft. I haven't really tweaked it at all. So feel free to do that if you think you have any ideas to make it better. Hopefully you guys all enjoyed the video, and if you did, be sure to check out some other stuff.